Hey, Tactical, welcome back to the channel, everybody. You know, it has always fascinated me in Airsoft how a platform this big, or at least comes in a box this big, can be powered by something that small.
This is another Airsoft mic production.
Right, so brand new to my collection, but not brand new to the market. It's by Golden Eagle. In fact, let me do it properly. This is the Golden Eagle MCR LMG. Okay, so as I was saying, not new to the market, but new to my collection because I didn't get around to buying it when it first came out. But as you may have noticed of late, I'm on a major Airsoft shopping spree. Hold on, let's see if this is specific to this model or if it's one of those generic manuals. Yeah, this is generic. Okay, the reveal. Nice. Oh, would you look at that beauty? So, you know what? Technically, that instruction manual isn't a million miles off, because if you look at this is like your M4 AR type platform trying to be an LMG. Now, it is not a fantasy build as such by Golden Eagle. It is actually based on the Fight Light. Fight Light. Who came up with that name? But anyway, I understand why, because technically it's supposed to be lighter than your average LMG. Now, what I love about this straight away is that you get some pretend dummy rounds. Well, they're not pretend dummy rounds, they're real dummy rounds. Now, that's interesting, because usually when you get complimentary or BBs added to a package, I tend to... But I'm not going to do that with these because one, there's a lot more than usual, and two, look at that, golden ball. And you know, it's worth noting, it's quite valuable, well at least to me anyway, when I buy a platform that's been out for ages and I buy it brand new, because you will see what you don't get anymore and what you get now. For example, you see that cheeky little cutout shape there? That was back in the day when this first came out. They gave you a charger and another little cutout shape there. They gave you a battery. They don't do that anymore. So you also get a little tool there, and from what I can see at the end, that's in the shape of an Allen key or a hex key, and you get a tool to adjust your front sight. And again, you never got a bag of BBs looking like this on the first batch. And for the main attraction itself, of course, you get your LMG and a box mag. Okay, so you also get a cleaning and unjamming rod. Now let me tell you, if I'm not the only one to say this, I am one of very few to tell you that not only are those dummy rounds, they are completely plastic, but I must admit, they look pretty decent. And you get this little attachment here so you can attach your dummy rounds to your LMG. Now I've said this before and I'm going to politely say it again. Dear Airsoft manufacturers, how about giving people an instruction manual for the actual platform you are producing? I thank you. Because you'll find no instructions for any of that. Hold on, let me just make sure what I just said there was factual. No, literally, this manual, it's as if this manual has nothing to do with that. Nonsense. So, the box mag. This baby holds 2,500 BBs, nice, and if you look at the top, you will see that it's pretty much the top end of a standard M4 magazine. There you go, look. That there is a hatch. Open that up, And that's where you attach the other end of the dummy rounds to give it the illusion that it is feeding from the box mag. Nice. And then on the base of the mag, you've got your battery compartment, because yes, you have to put 4 AAA batteries in this. I just want to show you on the back, you have a switch that does auto, off and sound control. Let's have a little listen. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like my very first car I ever bought years ago when you're trying to get it to start. How times have changed. Anyway, I tell you what, let's get this filled up now. I've filled it up 3/4 of the way. Technically, if I start the if I start the motor up, you should see the BBs start rising to the top. Come on! Man, that really does sound like my old car from many years ago. Even with the rattling of the BBs. Same sound I got from my car. Man, I wished I kept that old first car of mine. But anyway, nostalgia. So we're going to clip in one end of the rounds just down there. Nice. Actually, taking the dummy rounds off, let's get the mag on first. And then you press this button. Okay, nice. That makes sense. That's almost like a dummy version of a dummy round for it to hook onto. And then you just rest this over there, sit that adapter just on the other side. It looks like it's going to fall off, but really it won't. And then you know who your uncle is.
Bob.
Pop the other end into that slot that I showed you earlier. And you know who your uncle is.
Bob.
Ooh, naughty. So, because I've done what I've done, accessorized, I might as well start at the front. So, it comes with a metal flash hider, which, as you can see, can come off. This Golden Eagle MCR LMG comes with a 14mm counterclockwise male threaded outer barrel. Loving the adjustable front sight and your mock gas block. Nice. And then you have what looks like a fluted outer barrel. Well, sections of it is. But anyway, did I mention, apart from the box mag, the grip and the stock, the entire platform is metal? So you have this cool looking hand guard. Now, from what I can see, naturally, key mod. I'm not sure if that's M-Lock, but for sure, key mod. And as you can see there, I accessorized with a cool looking bipod. I won't give you the proper name because it's a tribute version. And I had to get a key mod rail piece before I can attach the bipod. So keep that in mind, none of that comes in the box. However, what did come in the box, already attached to this LMG, is your sling point. A cutie one at that. Pretty decent. As we move along, you've got this right here, where if you press it, you can release the entire outer barrel. Now you're probably thinking, yeah, that's probably just mimicking the barrel release. It doesn't actually do it on this Airsoft version. Au contraire. Now, prior to me testing it, I'm not going to completely remove it, but watch this entire section here when I press this button. Ready? Nice. Now, although you don't get the lower rail section that I showed you earlier, you do get this nice little rear section here and a handy front one there. Now, I wonder if this really is M-Lock. Hold on, there's an instruction manual. Oh yeah, I forgot. I will of course get rid of that sticker at some point, but as I showed you earlier, you got your handy cover there for your feed tray, for your dummy rounds. I'm going to do something a little cheekier with this a bit later. Now, although I've got something a little fancy sitting on top there, you do have your rear sight. that does flip forward and back, so you get different sight pictures. And then right here you got this snazzy little charging handle that locks down, which is a dummy one, but it does serve a purpose, because when you pull it back, it pulls back your mock bolt carrier to reveal where you adjust your hop up. Now obviously I'll show you that once we get to the other side, but can I bring you right on back to that area? As I showed you earlier, that's how you open up the top cover. And then we have your fire selector switch. Safe, semi and full auto. Ooh, would you look at that gorgeous trigger? And what I like about it too, metal and that mil-spec style trigger guard. And again, metal, everything here, metal, nice. And then you have that A2 style finger ridged pistol grip with some nice checkering, decent. And then we get to this very versatile looking stock. I say versatile because there's a lot going on here. So apart from your QD sling points and your other areas where you can put a sling, you have a very cool looking stock release, a nicely designed butt pad, and then of course you have this cheek rest, but it serves a dual purpose. You whip the back off, that comes off too, and that's where you put your battery. The only downside is you need a screwdriver. Well, actually, again, this is where this makes it very interesting when I buy a brand new item that was released years ago. It's always interesting to see what tweaks they have done, what they've changed, what they give you or don't give you anymore. And guess what? Back in the day, you used to have to use a screwdriver. Now, it's an Allen key or hex key. Oh, and there's two. So you've got to remove the one down there also. And then you have a choice. Again, versatile. You can whip the cheek rest off, and you see that hole just there? Once you've fished out your Tamiya plug, you can actually feed it through so it comes up there, and then your battery can sit on the top. Or you can shove it in there. Put your battery in the buffer tube. Nice. Now, judging by the amount of cable here and that fuse, I think I'm going to have this Tamiya plug pop up through that hole and connect my battery that way. And there's a decent amount of room too, so you could put quite a large battery in there, to be fair. Now, before I take you over to the other side, I guess I better make sure it works. Nice. Actually, who am I kidding? Right, let's have a look on this side. There's that mock bolt carrier. Nice. And that's where you adjust your hop up. The other side of the stock. And don't be fooled, this is currently on safe. So what you can see here, although it would have been cool if that also moved, although it's not ambidextrous, that little indicator there makes you think it's on semi. It's not, it's on safe. It's just that that does not move. And then in front of that hand guard, you've got this metal carry handle. Now it doesn't move, it's fixed in that position, but this bit does spin. And there's the other side of that outer barrel. And of course you've got your other QD sling points. Right, let's chrono this bad boy. So there you go, let's have a quick look at the average. We're looking at 322. There you go, we're looking at about what, 11, 12 rounds per second. Not the fastest, but at least it maintained the FPS. Actually, it did a little bit better than when it was on the semi-auto, averaging out at 325. Need I say anything?
Perfect. Perfect.
Right! Who wants a game of Airsoft? Now this bad boy has a version 2 gearbox which is fully compatible with Tokyo Marui spec AEG parts. Nice! It's also compatible with M4 AR-15 AEG magazines. So, you know, if you're out there on the field and you lose a mag or you run out and your teammate's got a full one handy, you can use a regular M4 AR style mag. Thanks for watching.